You're listening to the Nerd to Know Media Network.
This week on the Wrestling Rewind, we got to take a look into what is shockingly, and I honestly mean this with all respect, becoming my favorite wrestling company of the second half of 2020, and that is Impact Wrestling.
Absolutely.
I sat down last night and I watched Turning Point, and I liked it. I didn't just like it. I was laughing. I was excited. And what finally hit me, Dara, and maybe you feel differently, maybe you feel the same way, I'm not sure. But because we have these empty arenas, essentially, because of the lockdown, it's almost like it's the great equalizer. WWE, AEW, TNA, we don't have the difference between how many thousands or tens of thousands of people are in the stadium. So we're really just getting an even-keeled look at the wrestling product itself. And I'm really starting to fall in love for the most parts. It definitely had bad moments, but I'm really starting to fall in love with the characters and the matches in Impact Wrestling. So I'm super curious on what you think. I can't wait to dive into this, and I really want to break this show down. This is Turning Point 2020 here on the Wrestling Rewind.
And also, you're joining us on Phoenix 92.5 FM. Thank you very much, guys. If you haven't subscribed, please do. We've received a bunch of comments, got some new subscribers. It's great to see on the Rewind channel. So keep it up, guys. Comments really help us. Again, we are going to keep focused on what we've been doing, past shows and all that kind of stuff. But Impact have been great to us, so we're giving back. And as I said, I'm actually really happy that the product is so good because we're covering it, and it's a joy to cover. Honestly, Dave, I agree with you everything you said there. It's for a long time it's been a number 3, but I don't think that's a bad thing. Now they're aware of where they are and what they're doing. And here's the thing: they might be number 3 in size, but they're number 1 in quality and content. And I would say, don't bother with any of the other shows, honestly, because they're not as fun.
Oh, that's bold. That is bold. But you're right. I don't get bored. Now, granted, I don't get bored. They haven't sucked me into week by week yet.
Yeah.
They've sucked me into pay-per-views.
Well, here's the thing. Obviously we're going to cover a Survivor Series because of what it is. But
yes,
the big hook of Survivor Series is none of the matches. It's The Undertaker.
Which you're still wrong about, but
yeah.
Right.
Compared to WWE and Turning Point that we've seen, all the matches there were from bell to bell, from start to finish. Even like a matches that I didn't think I'd enjoy, I really did. It's a solid product, week to week. And here's the thing: the Impact app is free for the most part. You can watch the show. I was shocked that the show was free. I was watching it. I'm like, this is unbelievable.
Yeah. Great so quality good. Too.
Absolutely.
And I swear we're not shilling. Like, I'm not getting a kickback for, like, honestly, this was truly fun to watch.
But their other shows are free on Twitch as well.
Mm-hmm.
So every week they're there also. And here's the thing, guys, I can't stand AEW for loads of reasons. And here's the thing, right? On that point, a couple of people I've been watching, Palina Promotions went on a big rant about AEW, and it's like, wow, this tide is starting to turn. And I think it's from what you said as well, Dave. The crowd is gone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really exposed to being what it is. It's just brought down to its strength as a product. And right now, out of all 3 of them, TNA, Impact Wrestling, has the most strength. It's the most entertaining. It's the most compelling. And, it's also different. It feels like a different show. It doesn't feel like I'm watching something that's pretending to be something that's not. It's a strong, it's a strong product that has this really, really strong feel to it. And it's nice because it's been so long since we've had that. Instead of this is what they should do. It's like, no, we have a vision for what we're going to do. We're going to portray it, and you guys can come along for the ride. And I think that's when promotions are the strongest.
And I want to put this in context for people who maybe they're tuning into the Rewind for the first time, or maybe this is the first time they put their dial to 92.5 when you and I have you on. I want to add a little background. I, for essentially 10 years of my life, literally worked and was paid to cover WWE programming in several facets. When AEW first started, I attended live their third ever show. I was all in, yes, pun intended, but I was all in for their third TV taping. And I was there. I brought like 6, 7 different friends with me. And honestly, it was super duper fun. But what I found is the show that for so many years I disregarded ever since the first couple of, maybe the first year or so, when I actually did buy the Wednesday night pay-per-views and I would watch what was going on week by week. This is the first time really since then that I found myself interested in Impact Wrestling as a product. And I say this not to just, exude all over them and say they're awesome, but to provide the context of I've walked the walk and I've talked the talk with all 3 of these companies. And right now, this is the one that's the most harmonious for what I want out of a wrestling product in terms of enjoyment for our current state of the world. And I laugh, I get excited, I get kind of upset, and that's what I want. It's making me feel things, and the other 2 companies aren't doing that unless it's involving some form of nostalgia. At least with Impact, I feel things right now.
That's it. WWE is living on its nostalgia. AEW is living on not being WWE. And Impact Wrestling is living on being itself. And that's the big thing. As I said, Survivor Series, I would honestly have no interest watching it if it wasn't The Undertaker, right? But that's the only reason why I'm watching it. It's literally the only reason. And even with this show, we're lucky in the sense that we don't have to cover it. We can watch something good. But
I'm waiting to see if AJ gets a match. Then I'll watch 2 parts. I'm not sure if he's on the card yet.
Fair. But what's cool about this is going in relatively cold, because we're not watching week to week. And the main reason why is the time for me is just, it's impossible to watch it live.
It doesn't work for me. I'm working. I work till a certain time at night, and then I got stuff I got to do. So,
and I live in Ireland.
And you live in Ireland.
So we're 5 hours ahead, and that's the reason why. But if it does get to a point where it moves into week to week, I'd be happy enough to watch that, maybe on a delay or something like that. But as far as the pay-per-views go, it's an absolute treat. It's an absolute joy. And it's not because of anything in particular. It's just the show itself. It kind of feels the way NXT was, where it's presenting its best foot forward for every one of these shows, where it feels like, cool, okay, throughout the matches, I'm given a story. I'm being given performers who are performing to a very high caliber without being stupid. There's no stupid and even in something which you think there would be, the Swoggle match, that was less stupid than a lot of other things I've seen this year.
I honestly didn't. We'll get to it, but I feel like AEW, and we're going to be making these comparisons until
we have
get
to.
In your head that
we have to.
We have to.
Yeah.
But AEW, it's almost as though the wrestlers that are there have this chip on their shoulder of, I should be the top star in WWE.
That's the problem with it.
Yeah,
that's what I can't stand
Impact,
about.
it's more like, okay, hey, it didn't work out for me there, but I'm going to show you why I'm really good, and I'm going to create a product that you can enjoy. I
wouldn't even say it's that, Dave, with Impact. I think there's a bit of it, one or two of them, but it's more like, for people like Eddie Edwards and Chris Sabin and James Storm in particular, right? They could be in WWE. They were in WWE.
They were.
They don't care.
Was Sabin?
Sabin was for a cup of coffee. But
really? Because James Storm and I actually made a Facebook post about it when he left, he made a terrible decision. And I take that back now.
Yeah.
I understand why people got mad at me. Because James Storm came into NXT, big ovation. Who knows what could have happened? Granted, he could have been in better shape. People go through things in their lives. It happens. But man, did I love him on this pay-per-view, and he's back in good form.
I love James Storm. I'll try to dig out the interview from a couple of years ago. He's genuinely a really nice guy too.
He seems like he honestly, his persona of dude you want to go to a bar with and have a drink, I totally get.
Yeah, absolutely. But it was great to see him. And the thing about it is, with those guys in particular, they could be in WWE. It could be in AEW. It could be huge stars in AEW. But they're more like, I'm happy here. You know, and also I'm just going to put on a great match, and we're going to try build something. We're going to pick every. It's literally the biggest comparison. Again, ironically enough, this is the Attitude Era of WWE. That's what these guys are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same mindset where they're like, we're not going to look at what you're doing.
Yeah.
We're just going to do what we're doing and do it the best that we can. And that's what we've seen in 1999 and 1998 and 1997 WWE, where they're like,
right,
if we try to match those, we won't work. So let's just do our own thing. And, you know, that's what they're doing. And you feel that. It's really cool. Like, it's what I like about it is I can watch an Impact Wrestling show and watch the wrestling that I like from the WWE, and then it isn't jarring. It feels very complete. It's a very perfect way to do wrestling, in my opinion. When I watch AEW, I'm like, oh, this is bad. When I watch WWE, it's like, this is horrific, because they're trying to do these weird things. It's not very natural. Like, Impact Wrestling is a very natural show, and that's why when you're able to watch it cold, it's the only show I'd say you're able to watch a pay-per-view, not know who's on it, and still have a good time. You used to be able to do it at NXT. You can't do that so much now. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the fun that I have with Impact. And when I watch AEW, I feel like they're constantly reminding me, we're not WWE. Remember? We're not. We're not. Watch us, because we're not.
Yeah. And again, like even when
I don't care. I don't want you to be. That's why I'm watching you.
But even when I bring up Impact Wrestling to people, or you know, I have to say, actually, then the meme of AEW being great is starting to drop very fast. Like, I know Full Gear was quite good, but I haven't watched it. I heard it's good, but I'm like, I was watching Impact and I had a much more better time with it. But so let's get into this.
Yes.
So the first match was a surprise opener, I'll be honest with you, but I was really happy with it. Eddie Edwards defeated Daivari. Daivari's in phenomenal shape, and I've never been a Daivari fan.
What's up with that?
Yeah, it's like when Steven Richards just showed up and he's absolutely shredded, and you're like, wow, dude, okay. But what's great about Daivari is, like, he's in great shape, but he's also in great wrestling shape, as far as like, he looks like he hasn't missed a beat since he was there. I know he's a big player in the Impact in the X Division when he was there. But Eddie Edwards is great. I love the new gimmick with Eddie Edwards. I love the new look. I think it's a much more natural look from him. He's weird with a beard. I still haven't really got used to him with a beard yet.
Yeah,
I used to see him in the Wolves, and you're like, it's still strange. But this is
and I like that he's wearing the tank top to kind of cover up that wolf ball, so that you don't have that image in your mind of Davey Richards every time. I will say one of my favorite wrestling moves of all time is the Shining Wizard.
Absolutely.
And Eddie Edwards' finisher is basically a complete standing version versus a kneeling version of the Shining Wizard. AJ Lee, of course, probably the most popular person to use that in recent memory. And man, does it look good. The Boston Knee Party.
Yeah,
as he really calls it.
Yeah, great little finish at the end as well. Like, I think this is the best way to open up shows with an X Division style match. And obviously Eddie Edwards is, you know, he's done it all. But I'm getting like AJ Styles vibes off Eddie Edwards' new character, where it's like, it's proper. Like, he's no AJ Styles, right? He's just not. But the presentation, the focus on like a toned down character where the wrestling comes first, that's really what I'm getting off him now, and it's cool. You know, I think he could ride this to an X Division belt, or even going up to the world belt, because it is that good of a gimmick. Really like the next match, and I think after last week's show, I don't want to get stuck on. Well, not last week's show, the last Impact show, where we talked about Emma for too long. But this was the Emma match, and yeah, it was pretty good. So Rosemary,
is there ever too long with Emma?
No, there is not. There is not. So Rosemary.
By the way, can we get this right? The poor chick's name. Oh, I'm sorry. The poor girl's name is Tenille Dashwood. Okay, yes, can we just get Dashwood. It out there? And now we can go forward, and it's Emma.
So Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie defeated Tenille Dashwood, who is Emma, and Jordan Grace with Caleb with a K. I have to say, right, I love Caleb with a K. I think he's a great little manager, where he's being, you know, it's the flip of what
he's the total creep, right?
Yeah, but it's so cool. Like, he's like this weird, like, flip on like the female manager, but also the floozy gimmick at the same time.
Well, does Dashwood really have 3 million Instagram followers? Is that true?
I don't know. Is she on
Well, I'm going
Instagram?
to find out right now.
I'm gonna
And
follow her on Instagram.
I'm going to start following her during the show, actually.
for research, obviously. That's it.
For research?
For research.
Oh, I was going to use it to have. So anyway, I thought the match was great.
We're researching just now because we are professionals.
We're very professional.
We're professionals. What we do, which is professionally suck, and yeah.
We suck. Well, never mind.
Okay, hold on. So she has 1.5 million followers.
Josh Matthews lied to me.
So
what a concept.
Yeah. So close, and her, so there you go.
Wow.
Oh man, yeah, I love this match though. I think Rosemary's super cool, man. I think she is so my type of diva, or knockout. I just love the gimmick. I think she's super weird. Her move,
Can we call it for what it is when we're talking about Dashwood here?
Okay.
There is a very real difference between a WWE female superstar and a regular indie superstar. Even though they claim they've gone through this women's revolution and that it's really just about the wrestling, when you see Emma and what she looks like and you compare her to the fantastic wrestlers, don't get me wrong, that make up the rest of this match, I mean, come on, man. It's not even fair.
But Emma's amazing, dude. That's the thing. She's just absolutely incredible, in every way. But what I will say is, there's your.
You're being really careful right now, and I really appreciate that as my co-host.
But
what's her name, by the way? Dashwood? Tennille Dashwood. Dashwood. She just posted a story. Yeah, what the hell, Josh Matthews?
Josh Matthews has some explaining to do.
Well, I'm gonna follow Lexi Kaufman. I remember. Alexa Bliss is engaged.
Welcome to Dave Doesn't Watch Wrestling.
Oh, no.
Oh no, I sent you this. I told you this.
This isn't. I don't believe you. I don't believe your nonsense and lies.
Well, I'm not lying. So far, I've been right about The Undertaker and Sting, so I'm 2 for 2.
Sasha Banks' real first name is Mercedes. I clearly follow no female wrestlers on Twitter, and now I'm starting to follow all of them, and apparently none of them have real names that I would ever have guessed.
So while Dave is amusing himself...
Wait, is Paige's real name Soraya?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, did you not watch the movie?
I mean, I watched a movie, but it involved Xavier Woods.
Oh, God. I was talking about fighting with my family. Yeah, her name is Soraya, yeah. Soraya Knight.
You're welcome, Paige, if you ever wanted to be on this show.
Paige, please come on the show. Don't mind the American. You know how he is.
I'll sit out that episode, I promise. I'll just be like Braden Walker. That wasn't his name.
Oh, God. Anyway, moving on.
What was his name? I love that dude.
What? Chris Harris? Not Chris Harris, was it? Yeah.
No, that was that. No. Who was the assistant GM? Paige's real life boyfriend.
I have no idea, dude. I don't follow them in that detail. I'm just.
And you couldn't not watch wrestling and miss this.
Oh wait! Oh my God! No, it wasn't Berta. Berta Rio was.
No. Well, yes, she did date him, but then she left him because he was like slander. Abusive or something, but oh my gosh, allegedly. His name began with a B, right? Yeah, allegedly. His name began with a B, wasn't it?
I don't know, Dave. Once he started dating Berta Del Rio, I was like, this is wild.
Oh my gosh, who was the guy that she was with before she was? He's the one that filmed.
Oh, anyway, we're moving.
We've gone wildly off track.
We're moving swiftly on. Swiftly on.
This will be edited. And by the way, I'm going to follow you right now, Paige. My apologies.
So Rosemary and Valkyrie had a great showing in this. Really cool match. Excellent tag team match. Probably one of the best tag team matches I've seen all year. But Caleb with a K, he's my new favorite floozy. I think it's great. It's really good. I was waiting for kind of the drop to happen, and when it did happen, I was a little bit shocked. What did you think of Brian Mayers versus Swoggle, Dave?
Okay, so while I try and
So
remember what this guy's name is, I'll talk seriously about this match. I thought it was fantastic because the jaw jacking between the two of them was great. The story that they were telling in the ring, both verbally and with the move set, I thought hit every point that I wanted it to. Yes, you got to see the fact that Swoggle was actually a pretty decent wrestler and can actually cut great promos. And anybody who's watched his, I believe it's High Spots DVD, knows that he is not going to hold anything back. Now, this was interesting to me, of course, because Swoggle did make a bit of a cameo on AEW Dynamite not too long ago. So we didn't really know where he was going to end up. But I think Impact is a really Brad. I'm going with Brad as a first name that's popping into my mind. But I thought that Swoggle was really solid. I thought that the former Kurt Hawkins told his story extremely well. I like that they did not go for the finish of having Swoggle win. I think that would have been too predictable almost.
I think in this case, it benefits Brian Mayers better than Swoggle right now.
Yes, an apology for not remembering, Myers, that's what you're going by. It's obviously,
yeah,
it's going to take me time.
Look, it is what it is. We joke around a bit, but it's a bit of an adjustment, and I think it's he looks great though. To be fair, I think this move has been so much better for him than staying in WWE or anything like that. So it's great to see
Brad Maddox.
She was dating Brad Maddox.
Brad Maddox. That's who she was dating when all the scandal happened. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah,
no way.
What it was. You're welcome, people who care about 2018.
Crazy. Anyway, so the next match was, I have to say, this match was fantastic, right? Honestly, I was not expecting to like it as much as I did, but I think this team is absolute money, pun intended. Chris Sabin and James Storm defeated XXXL, AC Romero, and Larry D. Well, Sabin and Storm have amazing chemistry. They're great beer guns. I like it.
Oh my gosh, when they went down to do a little cheer together and they came up with beer gun, and Sabin's like, I don't know, we'll figure it out.
I don't know, we'll figure it out.
Josh Matthews set it up a little hokey. This commentary for me tonight, well, at Turning Point on Saturday night, was not the best commentary I've ever heard from Matthews. And anybody who's listened to this shows knows I am unapologetically a huge fan of his. I thought he was off for the entire night, quite frankly.
That's fair.
But that said, you were mentioning earlier how Eddie Izzard, yeah, totally. How Eddie Edwards gives you AJ vibe. It's not. It's Chris Sabin for me. Chris Sabin is the AJ Styles of Impact for me right now.
Yeah, you're right. He does. Yeah. I have to say though, like I've been a huge fan of Beer Money and Motor City Machine Guns.
And now can we also talk about the other two elephants in the ring?
Yeah, before we get
not there. Good.
Before we get there though.
Okay, before we get to how horrendous they were.
Before we get there, I think what they were doing, like obviously this is something that was not planned. This is something that just kind of happened. And I think it's great. I think they are onto something here. Storm is phenomenal tag team competitor. Using them in this role, you've kind of made two big stars into one big team that you can kind of ride for the foreseeable future. And also it gives us something to do when they break up. It's a cool built-in storyline right there. Sabin, former world champion as well. I think this suits him better. I think the X Division belt would also be a good thing to go for again. But this is really cool. Like this added a lot of real heavyweight and prestige to this match. I will let you carry on as to the major bad point with this match though.
AC, was that his name? AC
Romero. Yeah.
Yeah. There's green, and then there's neon green that you can see even when your lights are out and the rave's been over for 4 hours. And that's how I would describe AC.
Yeah.
He missed spot after spot. He ruined a great slingshot DDT to the outside by Saban. He had to reset himself multiple times. And I don't know, maybe I'm being a little harsh. Did he do better than I could do? Yes, 100% he did. I will say that straight up. I am not saying this out of any sort of, dude, I could totally be better. I know my place and I know my role. And my role is to talk about what I watch because I've been doing this for long enough to know what's good and what's not good in terms of how an athlete performs. And to even go as far as to call this thing an athlete is a stretch at best. And I think he can improve. I think he can be great. I think you can have sort of a Yokozuna vibe to him. But if you ever going to think that you're going to get a Bam Bam Bigelow out of AC, then you're beyond delusional. And let me know when the handcuffs are applied.
See, I would say that's the risk. That's the risk of hiring somebody that big without the capacity to grow athletically. Now he has worked in All Elite. He was in All Elite. He was in Combat Zone for a while. So he does have.
I thought I recognized him. I think I've actually seen this dude live.
Yeah, he does have a little bit of experience, but yeah, man, like this team, they're a novelty act. You know what I mean? They're a giant to slay, kind of what Heavy Machinery were without the kind of likability and range. But there's room to grow. You know, I think working with Saban and Storm, they're the guys who you want to learn under. So I'm willing to let them, you know, they're not champions, right? They're not carrying the division. They just happen to be there. So I say we give them a couple of months, see how they get on. You know, after this program, if it is a program with Saban and Storm, particularly even if it's not and they're just in the division, they can learn and improve. But, you know, yeah, I agree. It was pretty hard to watch at some point with them. The next match was not at all. I love this open challenge kind of thing with the X Division belt. It's because remember, X Division is no limits, right? So this is cool. This is what I want to see. It's not about flippy dippies or that kind of stuff. This kind of
whoa. Never again on this show will that phrase be uttered.
Flippy dippy. Okay.
So glad you're an ocean away from me.
No, but what I mean to say is, you know, for a while the X Division was put down as that. You know, a couple of years ago, Doug Williams wouldn't have any matches that wasn't a straight wrestling match. You know, when he was the X Division champion, I love when they invert what people think it is because, you know, Willie Mack even said it. He goes, you know, it's about no limits. You know, his kind of thing was to go in again and try to win on that merit as well. And I think it's a really cool way to do it. So, you know, I love the flippy dippy stuff, but I like when it's inverted because it opens up a whole new range of things they can do. It's a new toy box for the guys to play with. Rohit is a great champion. You know, I really enjoyed his work. I think he's so unique. You know, he's such a. I don't want to say he's like Alberto Del Rio because that's unfair, right? He's much better. His range is a lot better and his character is way more defined. But I kind of get that early EC3 vibe off him as well. The way he carries himself, it's super cool. Actually, it's kind of like Triple H back in 1996. That's kind of what he's like. Cousin Jake with Cody Deaner, not the best opponent, but still a solid match. It was a quick match.
I enjoyed the backstage segment with the Deaner brothers or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Much better.
Yeah. For the streamers,
everybody's pregnant in wrestling. What is going on right now?
The next match, Willie Mack defeated Moose by disqualification. Poor showing, to be fair, from this. I expected a bit more. Willie Mack is always cool to see. Moose was what it was. Hopefully these guys kind of get a bit more of a blowout down the line.
I was really disappointed by the spear because that's always been, as much as I don't care for Moose, the fact that he does the flip on the end of it is really cool to me. But he started to flip so early that it wasn't even a spear. It was kind of like a weird back senton that hit Mac, and he just kind of fell over. And then I did appreciate the ending, though.
See, I get the feeling this match was kind of rushed. That's the thing. I get the feeling that they had a match laid out, and they were kind of like, right, we got to go for it. Which The ending was good. I liked it as well, but it was
How do you feel about the referee reversal decision?
it it wasn't unexpected. I think this needed something to make it go longer. Like I was expecting this to be the blow off, but
Right.
I don't think I think this was just to make it go a little bit longer. And we probably have a big kind of match where it's falls count anywhere or a cage match or something like that.
See,
Because
that's not how they
what they're
set it
building
up,
to.
though. At least according to commentary, this is just Moose setting up to have a match against Rich Swann.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what's going to happen. But I think their feud will pick up at some point because it's not
Right.
done yet. Like this hurts neither one of them, but it allows Moose to go in at Rich Swann. But I
I
think the way,
agree.
yeah, that so I don't think this was this was the best way for them to build on it without burying either one of them, even though it was kind of a bit of a letdown.
But what I didn't like is okay, I actually do like that the referee came back after the beatdown and then said, whoa, 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 no, I'm calling it a DQ. I actually appreciate that
I like that too.
because
Yeah,
that's very old fashioned and it makes sense. And hey, it's wrestling. You can
it,
do that. A referee
it's
can reverse his
very
decision.
it's very Unforgiven 1999.
Oh, wow. We're
Yeah,
going there.
yeah. The next match, we did have a title change in this pay per view, and we did call it. We did say this was probably
Called
what's
it.
going to happen. The Good Brothers are your new Impact World Tag Team Champions. Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson.
May I just, the pay per view right here for me, it may have had an amazing main event, but I don't care. Oh, Lord, I am so happy.
Oh yeah,
The Good Brothers have now held every championship that matters, and eventually they'll hold AEW's tag championships as well. And
I
I don't
don't
care what you say about
I
contracts
don't
and
think
they made a
so.
deal and they didn't
I
end up there.
don't
If
think
you
so.
think that Kenny Omega is going to pass on that money that they have with the Bucks, you're crazy because you're talking about the original members of the Bullet Club, and that blood knows no bounds when it comes to contract. Eventually, they will end up there, but I don't care right now. What I care is you have one of the best tag teams in the history of all of wrestling, next to maybe, dare I say, Degeneration X, holding the
Oh,
tag belts. I mean, the characters that you're seeing from Anderson and Gallows, and yes, I'm throwing a lot of hyperbole in here, and yes, I'm exaggerating. It's clear. Bear with me, guys. I'm just excited because these are my dudes, but there's really something special about them. And
absolutely.
seeing the moves that they do that they weren't allowed to do in WWE really just makes me smile and excited.
I don't know.
Really
Look,
does.
I would say the North kind of held the belt warm for them. This was something that why didn't it happen at Bound for Glory? Well, this is why, because they needed a
What
big title
you
change.
yelled at me though, because I said it should have happened at Bound for
Oh no,
Glory,
I
and you said,
disagree.
"Well, just wait."
Yeah, exactly. Because they needed a big title change. Because no other belt changed hands on this pay per view,
Well,
and it
why
would
not change it at Bound for Glory if this was always the plan?
because they needed something for this. There was no
Oh, come on, man.
no. It makes sense, right? You want to give people something to watch the show, and it makes sense. It's instead of blowing your load, on one pay per view, they space it out. Um,
Or you be like me, and you just spend a really long time on one pay per view, and you don't have to split it over 2 sessions of pay per views.
no, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. That's not how you book. Because here's the thing.
Sorry, I'm speaking like a performer, not a booker. I apologize.
Yeah, because here's the thing, right? And when if you did it the way that you said, where you gave everybody everything on one pay per view, then why would you watch this? What would happen is we'd be watching this and going, "Oh, they won. We didn't get that big hype feel." It's what WWE and AEW do, and it's kind of pointless. It's not servicing your show. It's servicing a buy rate. WCW did it all the time as well. Where
You know what? You're absolutely right. It shouldn't just be about servicing. Sometimes you just got to go for a couple times at 10 minutes instead of just one time for an hour. It makes more sense for a storyline and for making sure things flow properly. Plus, you get double the satisfaction in the end, right?
well, there you go. Everyone was satisfied after watching this show anyway. So there was a no disqualification match for the Impact Knockouts Championship.
Dara is actively not looking at my face right now, by the way.
So what did you think of this one, man?
It was really missing Dashwood, I thought.
That can't be a criticism of the match.
Okay, in all sincerity, I like the brutality. I thought that crazy.
It did have your girl on it though.
Yeah, kind of. But here's the thing.
Can I just say something? You've completely changed now. Where like Emma is just why you watch the knockouts, and I'm not gonna say that's a bad thing. But I just love how that's just changed over the.
Well, who was it before? Who was I?
It was
Diana Peraza.
Diana Peraza, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You called her out by name.
Well, listen. Here's the thing. She's a North Jersey human being. And I watched Jersey Shore for all of its seasons, and I've had enough of it. No, I actually thought, no offense, I actually think you're fantastic. And I think that the two things that both you gals went out there and did took a lot of guts, and more guts than I would ever possibly have.
It was
brutal.
A vicious match. Yeah,
oh my gosh, it was brutal and vicious. And that pile driver at the end.
Dude.
I mean, if not for that beautiful somersault that she took when she absorbed it, that could have been catastrophic. I actually cringed at this pile driver more than the pile driver we'll talk about in the final match that should not have happened.
But here's the thing.
This was impactful, man.
Absolutely. And, it deserved to go on. Like, this was a main event. And this is what I would class as a main event match, male or female. But this is why I love Impact Wrestling. They've always pushed their knockouts to really kind of push the boat out.
Can you imagine WWE, not divas, women, whatever they want to call Snoop Dogg's cousin on any given week, whatever they are? Can you imagine them doing a pile driver?
No,
and hitting each other with kendo sticks, not in the playful way that they did during that Hell in a Cell BS match from last year, but really going after each other. I mean, I thought I was watching, almost a CZWS match. But they were not holding back, and I loved it.
But that's what you get, man. As I said, like by being the de facto third in, next to WWE and AEW, they're closer to the indies, so they can do this kind of stuff. For a wider audience. And if you haven't seen this match, this is probably a match of the night. As far as Rich Swann and Sami Callihan is going to be incredible, but this is the match that I would give to people and say, look, you're really missing out because you're only going to see this here.
Yeah, this is the match that you watch, and it's funny to say because I wouldn't have thought this going in, but this is the match that you watch Turning Point for.
Absolutely. And that's not taking anything away. And that's not taking anything away from anyone else on the card.
No, it's just adding.
It's just adding to it. Like, this show was incredibly enjoyable. And it's what I love about this is the sleeper matches are the ones that really blow you away.
Right.
And it's super cool because
the tag match blew me away. The Swaggle match blew me away. This match blew me away. It's almost like Impact has a great steak and they're ready to grill it.
Yep.
But before they throw it on the grill, they put it in the marinade and they let it sit in the refrigerator for 3 hours. And every bite just has that extra sensation to it that you go, wow, this is not what I expected, but it's something special and I'm really enjoying it right now.
It's almost like they're booking a show.
Derek, taking what I say as an absurd metaphor and putting it in one sentence. Welcome to the Wrestling Rewind.
Exactly. It's almost like they have a plan. They're booking a show and some crazy
almost
old
like
man.
They know wrestling.
Yeah, and some crazy old man isn't changing it 5 minutes beforehand.
Whoa, leave Tony Khan's father out of this.
Okay, it's almost like some crazy old man isn't changing it and some Mark isn't been taken for a ride. How about that?
Oh, Selena Vega's cringing somewhere. She was the chosen one. Yeah, I read the news this week, folks. You're welcome.
Yeah. That's why we didn't do the segment. So here we go, right? Rich Swann versus Sami Callihan, right? Can I just say, Rich Swann is just impressing me more and more every time I see the guy. He's a great champion. Phenomenal wrestler. Sami Callihan has done some mad stuff, did some mad stuff in this match, but oh man, they made the right choice putting the belt on Rich Swann. Oh my god.
Oh, beyond believable. Last week I mentioned that there was a song that Ricochet and Rich Swann used to always come out to in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. Remembered this week while watching this match that it was all night long, and I there's some videos that I need to add to our Google Drive for you to watch from
Cool.
PWG because you'll get it. But
Right.
seeing this Rich Swann this week is not the Rich Swann that I saw at Bound for Glory, where I was going. But why did he add this extra weight? But
Mm.
why does he have this different look on his face and not the same Playboy kind of look? Is
Mm.
how I would have described him 7 years ago or so.
Mm.
But man, the moves are still there. That cartwheel moonsault was insane. And at the same time, the psychology outshined even the moves that were being done. Now, for me, there was one drawback. And, it is very indie. It is very what both of these guys you would expect for them. But I personally did not appreciate the apron pile driver. I really didn't like it, man. Just tell me, am I getting old? Is it just me getting old?
Okay. I understand where you're coming from. I agree and I disagree. I'll say why I disagree. The main reason why I disagree is this is a main event for a world championship,
There wasn't a crowd, man.
but it's a main event for a world championship, right? So I understand why they would do it, why they'd pull out all the stops. However, there was no crowd, but there's no crowd anywhere. So by that justification, the ladder match that happened at WrestleMania, where they did crazy moves, they shouldn't have done anything. The spot that Kevin Owens took at WrestleMania shouldn't have. So we can't judge it by that. I think that's unfair. For me, I think I understand why, like, we are going to go out and have the best match that we can and take these risks that's justified that this is one, it's a pay-per-view match, and two, it's a world championship match. It makes sense. So yeah, it's a nasty spot, really nasty. But here's the thing: AEW continued the match when someone was concussed. Matt Hardy was concussed. Matt Hardy wasn't. Matt Hardy was concussed.
No, you're talking about, Matt Hardy was also Cody Deaner, not Cody
yeah,
Deaner, Cody Rhodes was.
absolutely. So it's like, for me, that's far worse than taking a dangerous spot for a world title.
A dangerous spot that is executed well. I will give it that.
Yeah. What now? Don't get me wrong. It's a nasty spot and it didn't look fun. But, I understand why he did it.
Okay. Well, I understand why I'm going to be going through my archives tonight. I'm going to be watching some old PWG videos because
for sure.
Oh my gosh.
Actually, that's the thing, guys. If you want us to cover some PWG, let us know. Email us, nerdtoknowmedia@gmail.com, or comment below, because we're getting comments in. It's great to see that happening, guys. And
shout out to Thomas Rodriguez. Appreciate you watching the show this week.
Absolutely. And we're going to get back to covering some rewind shows fairly soon. But obviously, when a pay-per-view comes up, we jump on that, and that takes kind of priority as well. So next week's Survivor Series is coming up. We'll probably touch on it, but we might go to something a bit more fun. Maybe look at Survivor Series from a couple of years ago, and we will be continuing our 1999 run soon as well with Armageddon, which, Dave, you're going to love, man. It's a fun show. Armageddon 1999. So hold on, what time are we at now? We're not going to... We'll just go to the hour. So look, we have Survivor Series coming up, and obviously at the end of the hour we're going to go off Phoenix FM, and so look, Turning Point. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's great.
What would you give this?
I would give it a solid B.
C+ for me, but trust me, that's not a bad thing.
No, I'd give it a solid B. Not as good as Bound for Glory, but definitely worth your time. And look, it's free. Download the Impact app. It's free.
You don't even need to download it. Go on your computer.
Oh yeah,
we all have beautiful monitors nowadays. Watch it. It's, oh my gosh, it streamed to me perfect without any issue.
I couldn't believe it. It's such great value. It's free. All it's worth your time, and your time is not wasted. So, thanks for Impact Wrestling for the support, and we're gonna keep watching the show. And if it sucks, we'll tell you, but it definitely doesn't. That's the truth. We don't hold back. I don't think Dave knows how to hold back.
I wouldn't have gotten this low if I never held back.
But yeah, guys. So we're gonna switch gears here real quick and talk about the real kind of thing that's coming up this weekend, which is Survivor Series.
Mm.
So
Well,
WWE's
man, yeah, I'm just gonna say it. Well, man, here's the segue that I want to give into this. You were just talking about AEW and giving a negative because a wrestler, the match was continued because of a concussion. I would like to take us all back into WrestleMania 30 when The Undertaker suffered a concussion at the hands of Brock Lesnar and then for 25 minutes continued a match which to this day, and if you watch The Last Ride, as I know Dara rewatched recently,
I actually watched it all today. I watched the rest of it to like the last 2 episodes today. Rewatched them,
which is mostly about AJ Styles, but don't get me off track, mate.
Sorry.
So you know that The Undertaker doesn't even barely remember this match. And the news that came out this week, and again, news sheets being what they are, take it for what you will. But I was always under the impression that it was up to The Undertaker when the streak was broken.
No.
Well, apparently, Vince came into the locker room and told Taker, it's time. Yep. So when you go back in your mind, and if you're kind of a wrestling UFC junkie to a certain point like I am, and you remember that altercation that The Undertaker had with Brock Lesnar, I believe 3 years prior to this match taking place during one of Lesnar's UFC matches, when essentially they jabbed after the match and Taker was like, come on, man, are we going to do it or not? I had been under the impression for years that this was set in stone and Taker was just waiting for Lesnar to come back. Well, this throws everything I thought I knew out the window if this report is to be believed. And man, did they do Taker wrong? I don't know. But what I do know is as a fan, nothing has shocked me more aside from The Rock The Rock winning against Cena in the first match, because I literally would have put $1 million that Cena would win that match. Nothing has shocked me more than when I saw Lesnar beat Taker. And I think that's ingrained for all of us who are watching during that generation. Absolutely. So when we kind of get our Vice behind the story type of news that comes out about it now, and you know, it makes you think. And that's what I'm bringing this up for, is because it now leads us into Survivor Series this year, which is essentially to celebrate 30 years of Taker. And all I'm left thinking going into this pay-per-view is, should he have lost to Lesnar? Or was Taker screwed by Vince wanting to get a guy over?
You should watch The Brothers of Destruction. It's like The Last Ride condensed into like 40 minutes. It's quite good, but he talks about it, and Kane was really annoyed. Apparently he was so angry he left. Austin was annoyed when that happened. I think everybody was.
Wait, so where can I find this? Because this isn't on the network.
It is. It's on the network.
Wait, it is?
Yeah, Brothers of Destruction. Yeah, Kane.
And they actively talk about...
Yeah, Kane brings it up. He's like, here, we had to talk about it. And he goes, I was so upset I left. And Austin was really annoyed too, apparently. They were all really...
As soon as we're done recording?
Yeah, they were all...
Put that in my notes right now.
They were all incredibly upset.
Wow. So this is for real, that Undertaker didn't make this decision. He just went along with it because he's... and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but he's Vince's boy.
In his words, he said this exact thing. When I arrived, I was going over. Vince came up to me and he goes, well, look, it's your show. That's what he said.
If you watch The Last Ride, and this is where we're pulling a lot of this from, you'll get the idea. And I don't know, man, maybe it's bothering me more now that I found about this story today. I'm adding this. I just added that to my notes right now. Maybe it's bothering more today, but you definitely, when you're listening to Michelle McCool talk about The Undertaker in particular,
it's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking because you realize that Undertaker literally
will do whatever Vince
anything for Vince.
Oh yeah.
If Vince tells him to come back, he'll come back.
He'll come back and he won't be able to stop himself. Yeah. it's heartbreaking. I actually got really emotional watching it. I was like, well, one, I was kind of bummed because I'm like, I love the Undertaker. We all do. Like,
Oh yeah.
I don't remember a time in my life. Two things that are constant in my life: The Simpsons and the Undertaker. You know, I don't know a world without the Simpsons, and I don't know a world without the Undertaker.
Well, we're
So,
similar, right? And we always talk about parallels that you and I have. Um, and for me, I distinctly remember the Undertaker losing this match and supposedly retiring because that's what we thought he was doing
hmm,
at the time. And for those of you listening on Phoenix, sorry, but for the American people who are listening to our podcast on True Penny Channel, you're watching here on YouTube.
hmm,
I'm a huge Dallas Cowboys fan. This has been brought up many times, and a huge fan of the former quarterback Tony Romo. And
hmm,
both Tony Romo and The Undertaker retired literally within a week of each other,
yeah,
essentially both because of injuries. Taker was done, and Romo had been injured to the point of retirement. And
hmm.
for me, it was just this crushing week of I knew this was coming, but even as an adult, it was like I feel like my childhood just ended.
That's what it is. I think that's what it feels like for me. I'm like, oh wow, this is ending now. Like, Undertaker is just he's just the Undertaker. You know, it's like, what does that look like? You know what I mean? It's like he's the last one.
Like he's not like I joke a lot about it, but Triple H I do have a tremendous amount of respect for. Shawn Michaels, tremendous amount of respect. Hulk Hogan, I don't care what you say, I have a tremendous amount of respect
But
for these people,
the
but
like, okay,
they broke character,
yeah,
and them outside the ring.
yes,
Taker was the dude
who
that never
didn't,
broke character, and
never
he epitomized
wrestling.
professional wrestling. And
Like,
I think that's why it hits us so hard.
I think you're right. That's exactly what it is. Like, that's why how you know it's kind of real as well because he's doing that. Like, Triple H is my favorite wrestler of all time. We know that,
Mhm.
but not the Undertaker.
Well, didn't I think it was Chris Jericho actually who made the comment during the Last Ride documentary that he saw cameras around Taker
Hmm.
and recording him, and he went, "Whoa, what
Yeah,
is this the end?"
that's how you know it's the end. Yeah, I think I think he's done and done. And this is probably it. Now, here's the cool, and we are almost running to the time, so we're gonna have to speed through this. But I think what's gonna happen, Dave, we're gonna see Kane. We'll probably see Sting. That would be cool as some kind of reference. I think that's what they probably do because they both debuted at the same time. But we might see.
That's just you wishing.
It is, but I think it could happen. We'll see Retribution show up probably.
We'll
And
definitely see Midian.
no, but then the Fiend will probably show up, and I think we'll probably see a passing the baton moment with the Fiend passing the baton to with Taker passing the baton to Fiend. I
Well,
think
who's
that
the big rumored opponent? And sorry, guys, spoiler alert. Who's the big rumored opponent for the Fiend this year at WrestleMania? Is it Edge? Is that what I've been seeing pop up
I
in the news
I have
sites?
no idea, but I would say that that's probably what's going to happen
I
because
mean,
the
that
Fiend.
fits with the whole Brood thing, and it fits with the
Well,
Taker.
well,
So,
the Fiend's a babyface now, so
wait, really?
yeah. So what I think will
Okay.
happen is they will do that, and then they'll pass it over, and they'll beat up Retribution, and that's what I can see happening. The rest
Okay.
of the show is going to be a pretty much complete washout. We'll talk about it briefly next week, guys. We have to wrap up here because we have reached time. This is the Wrestling Rewind. Dave, plug your Twitter #Save Dave.
Hashtag Save Dave. Follow me on Twitter at the Dave Stevens and Taker. It's a big mistake to go with Retribution. I remember what happened after the attacks in London. Don't do it.
Yeah, obviously, guys, next week we'll be talking about Survivor Series, probably briefly. If not, we'll be talking about something good. Um, because I don't think Survivor Series is going to be very good, but definitely devastated about The Undertaker retiring. But a lot of good content on the WWE Network. Check out Brothers of Destruction, guys. If you haven't subscribed, please do. That helps us an awful lot. Loads of shows dropping on the Rewind channel. I'm just posting them out every day, basically. Rake content. Nerd to Know Media has loads of content as well. The True Penny Show, thank you very much for having us. Loads of content is gone out there as well. I think Dave has, not Dave, you're Dave.
I am Dave.
James has, what, like 7 shows to post? But
Right. Yeah.
but they are being posted. He does have them.
And guys, literally, you can search for the Wrestling Rewind on YouTube, and now you'll actually get sent to our channel. Please check it out. We're uploading tons of shows, and we want it to be a great place for you. We appreciate your comments, and we will shout you out.
Oh, for
especially
sure.
early on.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, there's if you have any comments you want to bring up, any topics or anything you want us to rewind and watch, totally go for it. Once we can find it, we'll cover it. But
Join
guys,
us at
for Dave, for myself,
nerdtoknowmedia.com.
we'll talk to you next week here on Pro Wrestling Rewind. Bye, guys.